We'll do it live.
Okay. No.
We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
James Woods can say is, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When a Bowen turned into a vampire, all James Woods could say was, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When he became Peter's best friend, they sat around the house and said, piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. And you know that James Woods writes his lines real well, but everything that he reads becomes real hard to spell. Everyone tries to help him, but the words just won't come out. There's only one thing he can think of, and it's what comes out his mouth. Ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When he comes out of his house, the women scream and shout. Ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When they know that he's nectar, the best of them all, when he says, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. Reese's Pieces on the floor and watch him come a saying, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. And you know that James Woods practices his lines real well, but everything that he reads becomes real hard to spell. Everyone tries to help him, but the words just won't come out. There's only one thing he can think of, and it's what comes out his mouth. Ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. When he comes out of his house, the women scream and shout. Ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy, ooh, a piece of candy. Piece of candy.
That girl, we're out I've seen things you people wouldn't believe.
So, a creature for my amusement. Prepare for battle.
Fucking thing sucks!
Here we are. I feel very comfortable. I got out of the shower and then I had an edible, and then I sat down and I started dreaming, but I was still awake. I don't know how that happened. Fuck it. Good morning. How you guys doing? It's Extra Bulla. Like a month of specials. We did a couple weeks ago. We had some of the ladies of independent media on, and then last week we had some of our tech guys come in to talk about all the technical stuff that you need to get your foot in the door in indie media. And this week our special is, oh shit, snow's coming.
Damn right. Yeah, 1 to 3 inches of hell.
That's what she said. Speaking of inches,
like 4 inches up here.
Yeah.
I got with me
Where I live.
these awesome guys. Yes, Ricky, you have a question from the back. No, you're fine. Okay. Do you need to use the bathroom? Do you need the hall pass? Are you okay? Okay.
I'm good.
The hall pass is just usually like this big giant piece of wood, and it's tied to like a tire. So you don't like keep the key to that's old school. That's like old school bathroom. Let me go around the horn here. We got Angel Rivera, Kris Legion, and of course CKYRANTS. We got the New York, New Jersey contingent here in the house. We were trying to get more, but they were all a bunch of sucks. So you know, all the cool kids decided to show up. Let me give a shout out to the chat here in the pit. We got around the horn. Let's go in order. Vegan Succubus. Hello, doll. She's such a sweetheart. Angel in the chat and on TV. Wow, he's like a magician. Sleepy Josh, Troy C, and Kim, and Gamer for Life. Who else we got? Dolores Pierce. Hello. Dolores is a very nice lady. The Vegan Beast. Oh, we've got Vegan Succubus and the Vegan Beast. You must fight in the squared circle for domination. Who else is here? Ed Heller. Talking about waffle fries suck. Okay, Robert Durden. What's up, buddy? One of our INN brothers. Hey, we got like three quarters of us is INN tonight. Steve Cutler live.
Yeah, baby.
Steve Cutler in the house. And Lucky Burrito. She popped in. Very nice folks. So we got a good crowd here tonight. So this is the first time I've had you boys on the show. I appreciate y'all coming on. Let's so we got Kris and Angel. Kris Angel. The magician. The magician. You guys are magic. It's Kris and
want to see a magic trick?
Angel.
Uncle Ricky.
Watch the show disappear. And then you got Uncle Warren and Cousin Ricky. Cousin Ricky down there in the corner. We're the New York contingent, and Kris and Angel are across the river in Jersey. Fellas.
Yeah.
We're
So
in New
nice
Jersey.
to see you. If you have beverages,
Brandon in Jersey.
get some
Got
beverages.
your little brother here.
All right. So we got a little bit of weather coming in. Now, when you watch the national news, they think it's going to be like the day after tomorrow, like the frozen Statue of Liberty, New York harbors, you could drive on it, that kind of shit. But all of us in the region, we're like,
we'll get a few inches.
Yeah, when they say it's a few inches, then all of a sudden you get like a nor'easter, like it's like 4 feet of snow. Hey, Spirit.
Well,
I
we
used
don't
to-
get that much snow up here, or at least in New Jersey.
Well,
Aren't
you
they
guys-
calling
are
like
you-
36 inches? Isn't that what I read somewhere today?
Yeah, they said this one could be
That's
like
ridiculous.
what was it? There was what was the last one? It was the one they measured it in Central Park or something. They said it was like 3 feet or something, and I can't remember how long ago that was, but
A long
It's
time
like-
ago.
maybe 2017 or something like that. It wasn't that long ago. I don't think it's gonna do that much, but because I was telling you guys before, I used to work in TV news, so I've worked with a lot of weathermen who are just very wrong,
Yeah.
and so
And you don't get fired either.
yeah, you don't. It's like as long as you're nice. I mean, they might get the temperature right every once in a while, but like actual weather that's coming in that could fuck things up.
Yeah.
kind of hit or miss.
Right. It doesn't matter what job position you hold in news. You can lie, make mistakes, and you'll never get fired. Actually, you'll get promoted. So.
That's right.
Now that didn't always used to be the case. MF Doom,
No.
Mad Villain in the chat. What's up, fella?
Mm.
It used to you used to have to be held to a standard in news, because news wasn't a profitable thing in the way back.
No,
You know,
that was
it
free
was like
corporate media.
Yeah, it
Who
was
wasn't that?
well, yeah. But before cable news came along, yeah, your newscast, it wasn't supposed to be a moneymaker. Your TV station was supposed to provide a certain number of hours of public service programming, right? Like PSAs and children's program and stuff, and news, right? But you weren't supposed to you weren't supposed to make money off of news, right? And if you had any sort of commentary on there, it was usually by like the station owner or the general manager of the TV station, and they would be talking, and at the bottom you would see the text. It would be big ass letters that said commentary, right? And then cable news came along, and then and then was it who? I can't remember. Was it Reagan? Was it Reagan that got rid of the fairness clause?
I think it was like
I think it was Reagan.
Turner was like the first one to buy a news network or something like that. Wasn't he like the first person to start it off?
Who?
Yeah, and then
Corporation
you started
done, I know.
getting into Clinton, and then everybody it went from like 20 something owners to like 6 owners of media, and
5 or 6 today.
and that's when the fun began. So
5 or 6
weathermen,
on-
yeah. What's
So
that?
it all went downhill.
No,
Yeah,
I
it
said
did.
5 or 6 corporations own 90% of media in this country today.
Oh yeah. All right. So Ricky, since you're the one who has the least amount of background, you get to go first tonight.
Ricky.
You better be glad
No,
that's
I-
not a green screen back there, pal. They were gonna put like the flames of hell back there, or I could probably key that out. I could probably put the flames of hell behind you if you want. So
Do it.
no,
Just to make a statement, I highly enjoy Ricky's rants. Highly.
that's
Awesome.
the name.
Yeah, I'm quite opinionated. Some people like it and some people do not. They tell me.
Oh yeah, I got the same issue.
Yeah,
I think that's
I just don't care. Especially these days. I just don't care anymore.
and like 20 years ago, the things that you'd say on social media, just like everybody else would be saying it too. But now, for some reason, it's like,
I know.
gee,
20 years ago,
Lois.
20 years ago, you could say I hid the body in the trunk, and then no one would care. Now it's like, oh, I don't want to wear a mask. Oh my God, you're a serial killer. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I never understood that. Like the drama when it comes to like whether you're either side you're on. Like, how do you say like I don't want to talk to you anymore? You're out of my life because you're against vaccines or you like that? Like, how does that happen? Like, I don't understand it. Like, I
just
don't
Is
understand how
there-
this is a wedge issue.
I
It's
let
the
them go,
product of
man.
Vaccine.
It's the product of their environment and like their society that they live in. It's like I can't.
Yeah.
They probably do have alternative opinions to what their neighbors think, but they ain't gonna say that because they gotta live there, right? They gotta live there, And they don't want to get any shit from Barbara across the street, who's always borrowing sugar and shit like that. Who borrows sugar? You gonna bring it back? No, you're not gonna bring it back. You're going to
you
get
don't want to
sugar.
piss her off.
I never understood that. So I like our little Northeast contingent that we have here tonight. We have problems in this area just like we do everybody else. I was talking about the storm. We know it's not going to be a big deal. And our brothers and sisters out in the Midwest definitely know we're not getting anything because they're like, please. It's like Pluto weather in Chicago and Detroit and areas like that, and we're like in Barbados compared to those jokers over there. Yeah. So
I saw my local news report talking about a winter cyclone. I'm like, that's not be a cyclone.
You mean like a tornado?
Yeah, that's what they said, like a cyclone. I'm like, there's no way. It's supposed to get 4 inches.
Dude, I totally want to see a snow-nado. Oh, yeah, I mean, I don't want it to fuck up nothing. Don't get me wrong. I'm dark. I ain't that dark. But dude, like a tornado it's just made of snow? Dude, that would be so cool.
Yeah.
But like, everyone's gonna call for lockdowns if that happens. Though they're like, "Oh my god, now we need climate lockdowns. We have to go back inside for another 2 years because of the snow-nado."
Climate lockdown.
I don't want to do climate lockdown, bro.
No.
There's like sharks shooting out of it too on the side. What the fuck? Who made this a sharknado? You're right.
Speaking of that, I literally saw like a weather news show where they're like, I think it was the Weather Channel, where like it was like right before a hurricane where a piece of styrofoam was flying in the air and the reporter dodged the styrofoam and she was like, "Oh, I almost got taken out by a piece of debris," and I'm laughing at it because it's like a little piece of styrofoam. Like they exaggerate so it's terrible.
This cheap cooler I bought at the convenience store is gonna kill me and mine. We gotta run for the hills.
I think she called it a projectile. I think she was like, "Man, I'm like 45 pounds. This projectile was heavy."
Have you guys seen that clip where there's a runner out in a snowstorm and she's like, "Yeah, it's really good for you to run when it's snowing like this. It's good, and your shoes get good traction on the snow." And then she runs off in the background and she slips and busts her butt. It is so funny. I don't like to laugh at people when they get hurt, but it is so funny. Ooh.
Yeah, the news is.
It's easier to laugh when you just assume that they didn't get hurt. So I'm just saying. So I did this poll. I'll just do this real quick. If a tree falls in the woods and no one is around to hear it, can I have it? And 53% of the people said yes. You can have that, tree. And then the other 47% said, "Are you high?" Which is also yes. So that's 100% yes if you add that up the wrong way. Reef Braylon in the chat. Choosy Heretics choose Carnation Revolution now. I try to say the whole name. I don't want to just say choosy because that I don't want people to assume I'm being familiar. You ever do that? Like you ever meet somebody and they get too comfortable too quick, like they think like you've been buddies for 30 years or something like that. Calling you like fucker or something. You're like, "No, dude, we just met like 10 minutes ago. You can't call somebody a fucker." Your thoughts, Ricky. Now, say it.
Yeah.
What's up, fucker?
Hey, fucker.
We've been chitty chatting. That's different. We all know each other through the tweeters.
That's true.
Yeah.
We're tweeter buds. But now we're like facial pattern recognition buddies right now too. The CIA is totally putting squares around our heads, putting us in the database.
God. The CIA has files on all of us, I'm sure.
You especially, Angel. You troublemaker. I see you on there. You just like, man, you cracking the whip. You're like, I don't give a fuck. Fuckers.
They got files on all of us. Our porn habits, everything.
Oh,
I try to stay safe because I know how to accumulate bail money for others. So not so much for myself, but for other people, I can hook it up like cable.
Well, they caught me off to a black site, so you'll never find me again. So.
No.
We'll find you. We have skills. we have a particular set of skills, Kris. We'll find you in the night. We got a tracker on you already, so it's all good. We'll find you.
Ankle bracelet.
The only
He's
way
in a
you can
black
track the black site. That's kind of racist, man. Why do you say shit like that?
He's in a black site with Tupac.
You're in a black site now? Is that what it is?
That kind of
I'm
black.
somewhere in Cube by Cube or somewhere, you know.
Angel was in somebody's fake living room a little while ago using the StreamYard magic.
Yeah, I just took it down, but
you can put it back up. It's all right. I wasn't making fun of you. You can totally put it up. Yeah, see?
That doesn't look good, you know?
That is... No, I know what you're saying. But that right there is everybody's living room on StreamYard that uses the background. I don't think anybody uses anything else on there except that. Because it's nice. Look at that fireplace back there.
It is nice, but the green screen, it looks like shit.
Well, if you had a green screen behind you, it would look a lot better. But you have just kind of like different things around you.
Yeah,
so I do this so you know that means different things around you. What? So yeah, and the piano too. Did any musicians here? Anyone you guys play?
No,
Crickets?
I DJ a little bit, but that's about it.
Oh yeah, what's your DJ name?
Yeah. Oh,
Chris Legion.
Your DJ Chris
Well,
Legion.
Yeah. I brought it with me. For my
Well, Legion's an
political,
awesome last name. I mean, if you
yeah,
were like DJ
one.
Chris, if you were DJ Chris like Smith, then it'd be like, nah, dude, you can put a little more pepper on that.
It was just like I just had it like Legion, and then I just added Chris to it because.
See, Ricky, no offense, Ricky, but you look like a DJ to me. Like you look like somebody who just got off a fresh tweak and is now at the club and
You're rolling, huh?
I'm kidding. I just wanted to call you a tweaker for 5 seconds. I'm sorry. We all have problems. We all have our maladies and our demons, right?
Yes.
This little angel right here, though, that's not a demon. Yeah.
I got a lot of like New York City club stories if you want to hear.
Yes.
Oh yeah. Yes, please. Yeah. Let's hear one.
I'll do one.
Okay.
So there's like a thing where people, like there's after hour joints. People don't know that. A lot of people don't know that, but there's actually real after hour joints in New York that are not on sort of the legal. On the legal footing. So like after about 4:00 in the morning, if you know the right people, you can find one. Of course I did a set one night and I was like after hours, the club closed, whatever. So we went to a couple friends. We went to my first like mafia run like after hours joint.
Holy shit.
And like in the movies where where they go to like the secret club, like in the warehouse, and the guy opens up the little door, and you have to give him like the password.
Oh, the speakeasy,
the same thing, man. Same thing. You gotta do a little password. You gotta get in.
Easy password.
Hey, password.
Swordfish.
Yeah.
It's like prohibition style.
Yeah.
Nice.
And when you go in, you gotta give them. You gotta buy like drink tickets. You can't use cash in there, so you have to buy like these little paper tickets, and that's what you give to the bartender. So whenever you buy drinks. So also there was this little old man in there, and I'm guessing he was the guy who was made the mafia boss, right?
Made man.
Made guy, right? He's the one that ran the joint, and he would go around the bar, and if he didn't like you, he was like in his like late 60s, something around there, 70s. If he didn't like you, he would point you and tell you to get out. So he would walk up, someone was at the bar and they were acting a little rudely, and he didn't have any bouncers or nothing with him. He would just go, "You get out and leave." The guy would just put his head down, and the guy would just walk out. And the whole night he was doing that. So I'm with my date, because you have to know people to get in there, and apparently she knew the people there. So and where her guy walks up to her and he starts hitting on her in front of me. And the old man comes out and he's like, "You get out." And he puts his head down, walks out. And it was just funny, but to see the shit that I see in the movies, just seeing it in person, was pretty weird, you know. So it's just odd, very odd. But that's like my New York City like club stories back in the day.
Well, I guess you
Yeah,
don't need a bouncer if it's mob run, right? I mean,
No.
Yeah, everyone
know,
behaved.
you pretty
just
much
need
know
a
what you're
newsie.
getting into.
Just a newsie. That's all you need.
Yeah, it was. I'd never seen anything like it. You know, it was just weird to me.
Angel, you ever cross the river and have any wild times in New York, like something like that at a secret
I'm
underground
sure, but
location?
I don't remember.
Really?
Oh yeah, too much fun.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't have a whole story for you, but yeah, I have.
You could make one up. That's fine. I mean, if you, I mean, nobody, what we're gonna fact check? Well, there's no fact checkers here. Come on.
There's a lot.
I mean,
there's
there
a lot of
are,
stories I
but
don't remember.
not for bullshit stories. You know what I mean? Like you know,
Yeah.
you went into a bar with a duck under your arm, and there was like ninjas, and you know the place turned into a TARDIS, and you went to the future. You know, you could whatever, man. You know, we're not curing cancer over here. I know Ricky's got some stories. Ricky, you've got some sort of crazy story.
Oh
Let's
man,
hear
I've
it.
got all kinds of stories. I've so many adventures here in New York. I used to work at the Standard Hotel in the Meatpacking District when I was a youngin. When it was a brand new hotel, actually, it was built from the ground up. So it was a brand new hotel when I first moved here to New York many moons ago, and I used to do special events at the hotel for 3 years. And when it was a new hotel, everyone wanted to throw their party at the Standard. So we were getting like all the celebrities for like, especially the first couple of years I worked there. And I remember one night, Lindsay Lohan came in. This is when Lindsay Lohan was still in New York and still crazy as hell. I mean, she's still crazy. She's just a little tamer. And she was at a party in the Boom Boom Room, which is at the very top of the hotel. It's a fancy nightclub with a great view. And she came in there and she was raging drunk. She was just raging drunk. She was like screaming, and her voice was like gone because she had been like screaming and drunk. And she was like, she sounded like this because her voice was just shot. And she was just screaming at everyone. She was like horrible. Yeah. And she got mad at a photographer that was like taking pictures of her, because that's like what an event photographer does, like takes pictures of people in a room. And she's a celebrity. And she's a celebrity at an event, so that's what's going to happen. And she got pissed at this photographer. She literally grabbed a champagne flute, chucked it at the photographer, whizzed by the photographer, and hit my coworker, who's a cocktail waitress. It was like the craziest thing ever. And then like she had to be escorted like to her room, basically. Basically, when you're running one of these events at the hotel, you take people from the bottom floor up to the top and then back down. Like, and they don't stop in between, right? Because they will have two elevators that just run to the top for the event itself, and then the rest are for hotel guests. But I had to take her onto the elevator with her like publicist or whoever was with her, and take her to her hotel room, which is a couple floors below. She stayed at the hotel because I'm sure like they booked her a room because she was so messed up. And I literally had to take her to her floor, and she like stumbled off into her room. I was like, oh, Lindsay, Lilo. The stories are true about Lilo. She was a wrecking ball. Crazy.
You know, when you said that she threw that glass and it missed the photographer, I was picturing in my mind like a Matrix thing where it's like it's going in slow motion, and the photographer's just like, you know, back, you know, bending backwards, and then your friend's like, no, oh fuck, you know, kind of added that oh fuck at the end. I got here when I was old, you know, so like I turned 40. I was out in LA for a few years before this, and got into some wild stuff out there. But when I got here, I said, all right, I'm gonna behave myself. But I was at a Trader Joe's party, a house party out in Crown Heights. Yeah, it was out in Crown Heights, and it was great. It was a whole bunch of people there, good music. And you know, people like, you know, hanging out in the kitchen and drinking and stuff. And I'm not a big liquor drinker at all, right? I stick with beer because I know how many I can drink before I get stupid, right? So I'm drinking beer, and I got a nice buzz going. And then they said they'd run out of beer, but somebody had brought some malt liquor. It was Cisco. You ever heard of Cisco?
Yes. Oh no.
Yes.
Oh no.
That's the face. That's the face. Wait a minute. That's the face right there. Because I said I never drank Cisco before, right? And so I said, well, you know, and I was still wanting to drink some more. You know, I was about to leave. It wasn't like too long before I left, but I said I had one. I had one of those goddamn things. I drank it, and I don't know. I went into another dimension. I don't know what the fuck happened. I was like insta drunk. It was just like, I don't know what happened. So the long story short, I ended up getting on the wrong bus. It was the right number bus. It was the wrong direction. And I said, fuck. I mean, I was straight up 1960s Foster Brooks, man. I got off that bus like, but I managed to get to the right side to get on the right bus. And I got on there. And fortunately, there was a couple of people from the party there who were on the bus too. And they told the bus driver, look, our buddy's fucked up. They knew where I lived. So I said, go ahead and stop at this thing and then he'll get off. So, and sure enough, he stopped and, he's all right, buddy. This is your stop. I'm like, and then I stumbled out, and I don't know how I got home, and I just woke up next to the toilet. That's all I remember from the Cisco.
Okay.
I would never.
Yeah.
Yo,
I have friends, and I kid you not, who have gotten so wasted that they've gotten on the subway here in New York. They passed out on the subway, woke up at the very last stop, so they missed their stop, so they passed their home. They woke up at the last stop, then they took the subway back, passed out again, ended up at the last stop on the other side of the city, which is like an hour and something out.
Okay.
And then they woke up again, and then somehow they got home at like 6 a.m., like after hours on the subway. It's just, man.
I did half of that.
So bad.
We were at this place downtown. It was a karaoke bar, and I wasn't like super hammered, but I was tired, right? And so I was going back to Brooklyn. I got on the J train, and I passed out. I was supposed to stop at the Flushing. No, was it Flushing? No. Was it? Yeah, the J. I can't remember. Yeah, the J goes there. Yeah, so I was supposed to get off at Flushing. Next thing I know, I'm in fucking Jamaica, and the train stopped, and I'm like, huh? What the fuck? I ended up in Jamaica, Queens. And then, but I was awake to get off, but so much time was wasted. So much time. And I had to be at work again the next day. Liquor and booze.
Choices.
That's why I like weed. Weed, you'll pass out, but you just pass out at the house, probably. You're more it gives you a little paranoia when you're out and about, so it keeps you awake at least, you know. Unless you're just like doing giant bong rips at somebody's house, and then you got to hop on the A to get home, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah, the older you get, the easier it is to pass out, though. So.
Yeah, that's true. That's a nice little perk of getting old. For you youngsters here,
Don't take much.
if you're like, I don't want to be old, it's like, oh man, you'll just pass out so easy.
Yeah,
dude. Yeah, but oh, go ahead, man.
Yeah, I remember this one time. It was in the evening. It wasn't even that late. It probably was like 7 o'clock in the evening, and I was taking the train home. I lived in Astoria at the time, and I remember this guy was like kind of shifty. And he was like kind of like squirmy, and I kind of just noticed because you know when people are acting a little weird on the train, you kind of notice. And he was in a suit though. He was like well dressed, you know, wasn't like a head case or anything. And I just noticed like he was acting a little strange. And then I saw him get up like very sharply, and then walk to the door, and his nose was like right up almost to the door. And the subway was pulling into the station, and he just looked so nervous. And I was like, what's wrong with this guy? And I don't know if he was like ill or if he had like hit happy hour after work and like hit it too hard, But like as the train was pulling into the station, about like 2 seconds before the doors opened, he projectile vomited into the doors, which are right in front of his face, and it like splashed.
Oh God.
And I was like, oh my God. And then the doors opened and he walked out like nothing happened. And I looked at everyone on the train to see if they had if they saw it too, because I was like, and then like one person like caught me. They're like, yeah, we saw that. It was so
It's New York.
It's so New York. It's so
New York.
That's us.
It's so New York.
It looked like
That's
you
why
got a
nobody hates
pie in the
Texas.
face,
It's like,
but it
oh.
was a vomit pie.
I've never
my
seen anything
God.
like that in my life. It was crazy.
It's New York. It's like, oh, somebody threw up. Nah, whatever.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie. I took a piss at the Hoyt Skimmerhorn G train stop. I was working at the TJ's, and I was working late, and you know that G train comes whenever the fuck it wants to. I love it's like if you go to the Bergen station in Brooklyn, there's an F and a G there, right? If you need the G, there'll be like 5 F's will pass by. If you need the F, it'll be 5 G's pass by, because fuck you. That's what the MTA
5G?
says. They know.
That's what they
They
say
got
about
the
5G.
cameras. There's that jackass. No, don't stop here. Don't stop here. That jackass is here. Keep going.
That's why we call it the ghost train, baby. The G train is the ghost train.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good, G stands for good luck. Going, gone. It's the worst. It's the worst train. Do you guys deal with trains over in Jersey?
Well, I got lazy when I don't take the train anymore on the bus.
Yeah.
I'll jump on a taxi or something, but no.
Oh, look at you, fancy pants.
Those days are over.
Oh, those days are over?
Yeah.
The-
You always get like that one, especially the bus. I really don't like the bus. I could do the train. Like I have really no issues with the train, but the bus, you always have like that one guy who yells at himself. Like, you ever have that guy? When you're riding the
Yeah.
bus?
He's
One
got all
guy's
kinds of
yammering.
relatives on other buses in the tri-state
Oh, yeah.
area, so...
Yeah. So
I've worked nights. And I've worked nights and gone to school at night. It's like, there's always that one dude is either talking to himself or asking for money so he can get drugs. It's like, especially here in Trenton where I live, it's like, leave me alone. They always come to me for some reason, like I have a nice face or something. Like,
You
they
do
always
have a
give me
nice
money.
face. You're the handsome cynic. You have a nice face.
Yeah, that's
you
true.
know?
But I
Yeah,
have
but-
something similar to that, because whenever I'm at a bar, I have like the real drunk, the guy who's the really bad drunk. Every bar has one. Always comes up to me. He always sits next to me and starts talking to me. That's like every bar I go to.
Oh.
See,
I
y'all
have that
need to learn
problem,
how to put on an ugly, unfriendly face. You know?
Yeah.
Or maybe not wear cologne or deodorant that night. That kind of helps, but then if they're that hammered, they probably don't care. They'll just
Especially when they
like,
get up in your face and they're just breathing on you.
they smell much
God.
worse than you do. Hi, I mean, you shut up. I divorced you for a reason, you stupid cunt. Anyway, so I was saying, I was in court. Yeah, and you're like, wow, okay, fascinating.
Yep.
Yeah,
When you
well,
see,
While you're in court.
when
Looks
you
like
see
10
it from
people and walks right to
afar,
me.
I mean, like, you just don't want it in your periphery, right? You don't want it in your area of comfort, right? But if it's like on the other side and somebody's like, I told y'all I want some hot dogs. How come ain't nobody got me some hot dogs in here? You better go get me some hot dogs. But it's like way at the other end of the train tracks. You're like, yeah, that's nice.
That's
I hope
pretty
that
funny.
guy gets his hot dogs.
Yeah.
Just don't come down here, you crazy fuck.
they're usually peeing while they're saying that too.
There's my hot dog. My hot dog's leaking. I broke my pee-pee. Oh, I need a pee-pee doctor. I broke my pee-pee. It's leaking. It's leaking antifreeze. Well, all right. So Angel, how far away from New York are you? You said you're closer to Philly, though, right? You're about an hour away.
An hour and a half away from the city. I haven't been in since the beginning of the pandemic, but I want to go back again. I miss it.
Yeah, you ain't.
I don't want to live in New York, but I definitely like visiting.
Yeah, no, that's what kills me. I took forever for me to get here, and I've been here like about as long as Ricky has, but this is my 13th year, and it is much different than it was when we got here. You know, it's kind of sad though. You know, I'm one of these guys. I like grit. I like a little bit of grit. You know.
Yeah.
I like people with good stories. You know that.
Yeah.
You know, it's those random New York stories that are just the best. You know, because they're just so fucking random, and the place is so concentrated with people. There's just like there's millions and millions. There's 8 million stories in the Naked City.
Millions of people.
Millions.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a native New Yorker. I lived there for such a long time. I moved out when I was like 28, but it was cool, man. Until like you had like the hipster invasion showed up and just ruined everything. So that's like when I was like, I'm out. I couldn't deal with it. Everything just went commercialized and like, I mean, I used to go down to St. Mark's and it was pretty cool there, and then all of a sudden it just started getting like trendy and everything. I was just like, yeah, I'm done. So.
Oh no, I hate that.
There's like two kinds of hipsters though. There's like mainstream hipster, and then there's like the fucking wild artist hipster that like lives out in Brooklyn somewhere now.
Yeah,
I like
There's
those
two different
hipsters.
kinds.
No, these are like the rich ones, like the ones that have money but they dress like shit. And
I hate those
Yeah.
hipsters.
They're like, I'm saving the world by dressing like shit. Like, no, you're not.
No,
exactly.
you're just pissing people off around you. That's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, we was talking about that earlier. Angel, have you ever been to the East Village, Lower East Side, that area around there?
Maybe. I don't remember. Because I used to drink quite a bit in my younger years, so I don't remember, but I probably have. I've been all over the city, especially the Bronx.
You're like a Hispanic
Bronx,
Andy Cap. You're like a heavy drinker, and then do you have pigeons on your roof by chance? Do you like? Never mind. That's an old joke. Pigeons. You know the Andy Cap cartoon it's basically this English guy. He's a drunk and he goes home and beats his wife. That's a cartoon for you. Anyway, so but we were talking about the East Village earlier. There's all kinds of cool stuff still down there though that hasn't been tainted by the evil hipsters. There's a great burger joint down there called Paul's the Burger Joint.
Oh, that's my favorite burger joint. I'm glad you know that one. I used to go there all the time.
Paul's.
All the time.
Dude,
Paul's,
we got sliders there. They were the size of regular hamburgers. You go to Paul's and you feel like you're much smaller because these hamburgers are just giant. You know?
Oh yeah, Paul's is amazing. Probably the best hamburger I've ever had so far up there.
Yeah, it's pretty decent.
I highly recommend going there. Like if you're
Freaky like that so much, he's going to go get a burger right now.
He's like,
I love burgers.
Give me one too, man. I think you're the devil. You're the devil. Look at him float. It's a witch. Burn him.
Do they still have Nevada Smith's over there in the village over there? That bar, you know, everyone goes there.
Nevada Smith's on like Avenue A, is it?
I think it's somewhere around there.
A lot of those bars, some of those turned over during the pandemic. I know that. Nevada Smith's might be there. Yeah, there's still some good old bars over in Alphabet City and even some on First Avenue. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that area did get hit hard by the pandemic, though. There was my girl was telling me she lives over there right next to the Williamsburg Bridge. So she's more like in the Chinatown contingent around that area, but she's kind of like on the. You got this is where the East Village and Lower East Side, and then you got Chinatown, and she's like around here. And she was telling me like, all these businesses were just going tits up left and right, especially in Chinatown too, because those fucking leases. I mean, I don't know how anybody has a business in New York that isn't like already a millionaire or billionaire, because those leases just got jacked sky high, and those little tiny little tiny places just couldn't survive.
Yeah.
Mom and pops.
Yeah, a lot of places in Chinatown, like the rent skyrocketed down there, became kind of a trendy place actually. Off of Canal Street, it's a little trendy. There are like clubs hidden in there now. A lot of those businesses in Chinatown though are grandfathered in. Like the Chinese own a lot of that real estate, so they're not paying much for that. It's just upkeep for them. But anyone that started a business in the last several years, they rely on tourism down in Chinatown, right? If they're not like an old school Chinese spot where all the Chinese people go, all the locals, support each other basically.
Yeah.
But if you're a new business in Chinatown, you rely on tourism. Just like in the East Village, like some of those bars rely on NYU students. So when the pandemic hit, NYU kids were out of here. They went back to mommy and daddy, and those trust fund kids aren't, racking up those $100 tabs at the bars, and there goes a lot of your bars in the East Village.
Yeah. They're gone.
Like there's places in Soho too, like around there too.
Tourism.
A lot of those. That Soho became a ghost town. There's like a lot of boarded up places around there. Oh, that's scary. And there's a lot of money over there too. That was real surprising. But that's see, because Rick's over on the main island. I'm over here in the longest island ever. I want to go to the other end to where they had all those CIA projects and stuff, the MK Ultra, and the Montauk project and the Philadelphia experiment. See, Ricky, we're gonna get you and Steve from Slow News Day, and I'm hoping Rick Overton joins us too, and we're just gonna have like a jump down the rabbit hole night. Yeah, man. Oh, good times.
Let's get a strike on your YouTube channel. Let's get a strike, baby. Join the club, baby.
I got 176 subscribers, so I'm not even monetized yet. So yeah, sure, why not? Strikes are good.
I'm not monetized either, so
yeah, let's do some heinous shit, Angel, and like Kris too. We'll all do it. Fuck, let's gin up some business, right?
Yeah.
No, that's gonna be a fun time though. I'm looking forward to that. We gotta get everybody together for that.
Yeah.
So, but more New York and Jersey stories. Okay, so Angel, I know your memory's not that good.
I got a few drunk Yankee Stadium and Shea Stadium stories.
Yes.
Dude! Hello! What?
I was trying to get in, but you... Anyways.
That's a callback. Go ahead.
The Yankee Stadium one. It was 2000. No, it was 2004. I remember because David Ortiz was with the Red Sox. Anyways, we left Yankee Stadium, me and some buddies, and this is the old stadium. This is before the new one was built. And some Red Sox fans came up to us trying to fight us. I was like, dude, you guys are so hammered you can barely stand up. They're like, I'm gonna fuck you up. You're Yankee fans, huh? A-Rod. Like, Alex Rodriguez was here then. And they were like, okay. Then they fell over. I'm like, they literally fell flat, face first. Like, all right. Okay, let's get the fuck out of here. I was like, okay. I think I kicked one of them. It was like, yeah, fuck you. And I just left. I was pretty drunk too, so I just kicked one of them. It was like, yeah, there you go.
Yo, the Subway series has no chill, man.
No. Then I went to talking about that. I went to Shea Stadium for the Subway series. This is around that same time, and I got drunk again. And during the game, it was like, where was I? I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I got it. Anyways, it was towards the end of the game, and there was a foul ball coming in, and I did this, and the ball like hit me right in the hand, and I went like that and slapped some. Either oh no, it was a little girl who did that.
Oh no,
and because the ball hit me, and I like, oh shit, who's the little girl belong to? I was like, oh you? I'm sorry, I fucked right off. I left the stadium, and it's like the 7th or 8th inning.
Angel beating kids at the ball game. I love it. Woo!
Yeah, I did that because the ball hit me, so I did that, and it was like, I was pretty hammered, so I was like,
Yo,
yeah.
that's crazy.
His
Oh,
dad, no, her dad was coming, and I was like, nope, I'm out. I
Well,
don't care
gotta
much I pay
go.
for those tickets.
Shuffle off to Buffalo.
Yep.
yo,
I went back home.
grown men get crazy at these games. I've literally watched grown men snatch balls out of the hands of kids.
Yeah, they have
Yeah,
like
that's
I'm like,
That's
you
fucked
Yeah,
people
I've seen
are
that too.
nasty, yo. Oh man. Oh, I have some cool stories from years back. It was probably about a little over 10 years ago now. But I got hired. I've done some wild gigs here. I've got stories. I've done some wild gigs, but one of the coolest gigs I ever did by far, I was hired to promote a new season of Tosh.0. This was a long time ago.
Wow.
shit.
And they had us dress up in shresses, which is basically just a t-shirt that like goes down to your shins, and then we tied like ropes around our waist, so we kind of look like, I don't know, like dollar store white Jesuses. And we went to and we had signs that said like Tosh.0. It was so dumb. And they bought us really good seats at the Yankees game. We were third baseline, second row. Like, I would never have seats like this. I can't afford it. These tickets were hundreds of dollars each, several $100 each.
Especially the new stadiums they built.
Yeah, I think the new stadium was, I think it was brand new, the stadium, and
2009 then.
yeah, I think it was 2010 when I went, so it was pretty brand new.
Okay.
So it was around. It was still pretty new, and literally the tickets came with food. So we were like eating like all kinds of stuff in stresses. People were looking at us like, "What the hell is going on?" We were literally like in the fancy lounge eating all the food, and we had stresses on. And there's like four of us, and we were like trying to get on TV. That was the whole thing. They were trying to get the cameras to pan to us as we promoted Tosh.0. We got paid like $30 an hour. It was a dream job. I would do it like for the rest of my life. I don't even care.
I love that job.
Yeah, it was fantastic. And
I
but
think
for
the
whatever,
Yankee Stadium.
yeah, and we did. We got on TV. The cameras panned to us. Apparently, we were on TV at the Yankees game. We did it at the Mets too. I don't know if we got on TV there, but definitely got on TV at the Yankees game to promote Tosh.0, just blowing money, Tosh.0. And then, but it was really weird. Like maybe halfway through the game, like security came to us. I don't know why, because like all we were doing was sitting there holding our signs like any other fan. We just looked like a cult or something. and we got up to like walk around. It was probably like the 7th inning stretch or whatever, whenever there's a break in the game, and we were kind of like walking around, and security was like following us around, and they like approached us, and they're like, "What are you doing?" They started asking us questions. It's like, oh god. And then literally the fans were loving us for whatever reason. I think they were drunk at this point, the fans, and they started chanting out of nowhere. We were not even talking to anyone. We were like just hanging out by ourselves, and security came up to us, and people noticed, and they started chanting, "Let them play. Let them play." And literally like 50 people just started chanting, "Let them play." And then I started going, "Let them play. Let them play." And security just left us alone. It was the funniest thing ever. It was so weird. I got paid so well. It was so cool.
Drunk Bronx people, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. They don't play.
The security is like, nope, we're good.
I have a
That's just the old stadium.
I have a sad story about Yankee Stadium. It's not sad for me. It's sad for a buddy of mine. Good friend of mine down south. He's always been a Yankees fan, right? But he had never been to New York, right? So he comes up. He says, "Yeah, I'm coming up for a week." I said, "All right." So he stays with me, and we do all the New York touristy shit because he wants to see all that stuff. And his wife had gotten us tickets to the Yankees, and I think it was the Tampa Rays we were playing, and she also mailed us. I'd already had it, so it was waiting for my friend to get there. This box of edibles that was like really potent. So we ate some of the edibles, and we went to the game. It was great. We were way fucking nosebleed, just like you could touch the moon. That's how high up we were. And the sad part was my buddy. He finally got to see the Yankees. You know, he was in his church. He finally got to Mecca. You know, he's seeing the Yankees, and they lose 10-0, and we got out of there, and I was like, we still got edibles, right? And then the curtains closed, and Porky came out. That's all, folks.
And then Bernie Williams did a set on a saxophone. Remember Bernie?
Yeah.
He was a professional saxophone player. He's legit. I loved him.
He plays. He played the drums too.
Yeah, he sings salsa to this day. Since he retired.
He's
a
so
singer.
cool.
Yeah,
We got Convo Couch in the house. Miss Fee saying we are canceling the Northeast. Fam. Wait a minute. Fam. She said we are canceling the Northeast. It's too cold. Sorry. Fee.
Yes, it is bucket cold over here.
Right.
Terrible.
Let's see. It's 30. Well, here in Brooklyn, it's 30 degrees. That's not bad. But this weather thing is supposed to come in tomorrow evening.
Yeah.
Maybe things, I think.
Here's
And then
tomorrow, Saturday.
I think they said it's 45 mile an hour winds, that sort of thing. I don't know. The last time there was a blizzard, I think it was was it 2017? Because I remember going out. I'm over here by the Barclays Center. I'm not too far away from the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, in Fort Greene. And I remember going out, and just the wind was just insane. I thought I was in the mountain pass, trying to get down to the town and get supplies. I'm just doing this shit. It was insane. And it was just especially there's a street over here. It's about a block away from the Barclays Center, but it's a wind trap. It's the wind when they bit. There used to be a tall building. No, there wasn't. The total opposite. Okay, so there was a parking lot over here by BAM, right? The Brooklyn Academy of Music. And there used to be a parking lot there, so it would kind of even out the wind flow around there, right? But they took that parking lot out, and they put up there's a Whole Foods under there, and there's an Apple store on the other end, and the rest is fancy apartments. When they put that thing up, it started funneling the wind that was coming off the river down Atlantic, and it would hit Flatbush, and it would just get concentrated in these little street areas. And so you would be walking down there, and you're literally just holding on to the pole, and then your legs are up in the air. Not literally, but damn near close, I
mean, that's
you want to hear something about the Barclays Center since you mentioned it?
Yeah.
But I actually do have a source, a very credible source, that told me that they did the, when they built the Barclays Center, they did the what is it? It's pretty much I'm trying to get the word, the building project. It was run by Bruce Ratner, the big time millionaire freaking developer. The person worked for us was financial accountant. People that were doing financial accounting for him, but somebody close to that who ran that whole situation. But they were trying to build the Barclays Center. They were trying to. There was pushback from people that lived there. They didn't want to sell their homes. They were trying to relocate everybody. So they were having trouble getting them out to build the Barclays Center. So Al Sharpton, the great Al Sharpton, came into Bruce Ratner and told him that if you don't give me money, you don't pay me, I'm going to make sure that they don't sell to you, that you're not going to be able to relocate. So he went in there, and they had to actually write him a check. I know the person that was involved with that, and they had to they had to pay like one of the, I don't know if it was like a charity, you know how they sort of wash that money out to
Yeah, it's probably charity or something.
something like for him. And then as soon as they did that, as soon as they cut him that check, Bruce Randall cut him that check. He went to all those people, Al Sharpton, and sort of like convinced them to leave and it'd be better for the city to build the Barclays Center, and totally was able to like convince everyone to move out. So that's the crazy thing. Yep. A lot of people don't know that, but I found out and it was like, yeah.
I didn't know that just now.
Yeah. It's from a credible source, very credible source. Someone that
he's like, don't you guys want a second basketball team? Come on, move. Let's go. Come on.
New York is always going to be a Knicks town.
Yeah, but they always do that. I mean, that's like a big thing with New York is like they do like a lot of relocating and developers coming in and jacking up prices and you know.
Oh, Brooklyn is when they had an ordinance like buildings could only be a certain height, you know, and then once they got rid of that ordinance, you don't even recognize it. It's like Manhattan spilled over the Manhattan Bridge into Brooklyn, and now that's like an extension of Manhattan is what it looks like. You got all these tall buildings and stuff like that, and a lot of empty buildings too, because they can't. There's people who especially like when the pandemic hit, those places were empty as fuck because they're too expensive anyway, even if there isn't a pandemic. And,
you don't see native New Yorkers. Like it's very rare. Like it's when you go to New York, it's people from everywhere else. Like back, let's say 20, 30 years ago, there was a lot of like native New Yorkers there, like generational. And now it's just like a different thing. Everyone's from like Eastern Europe and all different parts of the world.
And then the locals too, they don't live in Brooklyn per se. The only reason I'm here is because I got really lucky with a deal from an old schooler that's not like a corporate run apartment building, but granted it's a glorified walk-in closet. If you ever seen that movie The Blues Brothers, The Flophouse,
I've seen that.
it's literally that size. So but yeah, there was like all kinds of like empty buildings and stuff like that, and then they put the fucking Barclays Center there. That I still talk to people around here, and they're like, "No, we didn't want that shit." And
really?
Because they have the Nets. Nobody gives a shit about the Nets, and the Islanders. I think the Islanders are getting their own stadium though.
They're supposed to be getting their own stadium.
Yeah, then
they played at the Barclays Center.
Yeah, that's what it was. I remember they used to come to Barclays, and you just see all these Islanders jerseys all over the place. And you're like, God, what the fuck? It's like,
Long Island.
like your country cousins were coming in, because they were all coming from like Nassau County, and way the fuck out there, to come see the Islanders. Let's go see the Islanders. They all sounded like Jordan Chariton. It was just scary. It's just awful. It's like an army
I'll just be honest, like not all of Long Island is like that though. But yeah.
Well, granted, I've only been to like what's the furthest I've been out that way? I don't
Ronkonkoma.
I'm probably the Rockaways, and that even like out of New York. So but I'd love to go out there.
You got some rough neighborhoods over there.
You got the Hamptons out there, and the Snoots.
Yeah.
But then you got, which is kind of odd, because you got the rest of it, it's like all blue-collar people. But the Hamptons is like right there by the water, though, right? That's like prime real
Hamptons
estate.
is like, it's like incredibly like elitist, rich kids playground type of place. But they got some other neighborhoods, like some rougher neighborhoods, like Freeport, Hempstead, Roosevelt. Those are the parts like I used to live by. And it's crazy because a lot of people would come in from Manhattan and Brooklyn and Queens, and they would start trouble and wish they never started trouble there. But it's crazy, But yeah, you got some really like the Hamptons. I've lived in Long Island for like 20 years, and I've went to the Hamptons like once. It's just like nothing in common with like those type of the rich kids.
It was like. It's like
fun kids and stuff.
When I lived in LA, it was like, you had Malibu and Beverly Hills. It was like, they were there, but it was like, I mean, I'd probably go to Malibu more because I was dating a girl at the time. Her mom and her stepdad lived out there, and right near Pepperdine University. And I would not live out there to save my life, man. All those fucking wildfires and stuff. They almost lost their house a couple of years ago because of that shit. You know?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's tough with the fires. It's crazy. And now, with the craziness of the pandemic, it's even worse because now you got fires and pandemic and crazy people running all over the place. I have my friends there. They're all buying guns. Like all my friends that live in California, and my cousins and family, they're all getting guns, and they're like, "Shit's gonna get real out here. You gotta get ready."
Well, they see the writing on the wall, I think, and
yeah.
Even the not so bright people are like, "Oh shit, something bad's coming,"
Yeah.
We all know it.
Shit's crumbling, man.
We was talking about what happened to people. What happened to how this pandemic affected everybody. And there was one of my mutuals on Twitter was talking about she she stopped wearing her mask, I think, and she may have never worn one in the first. I'm not sure, but anyway, she goes into her apartment building, and she says somebody's coming down the hall, and then the guy turns his face to the wall to get away from the virus breeder, bring out your dad, that person. And it's like, really, if you don't have balls to handle that, I mean, when the real shit comes, like, I call those people purse dogs of society. It's like a purse dog it cannot hunt, it cannot fend for itself. It will be food in the apocalypse, and so will a lot of these people, unfortunately. Oh, did you know this is it's 2022 Soylent Green year? I'm sorry. This is the year Soylent Green took place. So just FYI. You were saying? I'm sorry.
No, I mean, it's just nuts. Like how, I mean, like when the pandemic started, as soon as it started, when it first started, I tweeted, like, I knew for some reason something told me that I knew it was going to be bad. Like people were going to I already knew like the economy was fragile, and there was just problems happening already with all the corruption and how Bernie got cheated out of the primaries and all these things. I knew, like, when they put like they did everything they could to stop Bernie but their plan was just to put Joe in. Like there was no plan to actually govern and actually run the country. It was just like, let's just stop him and then we'll worry about whatever happens after that. Let's just throw the senile little freaking child groper in there. And it was freaking, and so now with the pandemic started, I was like, I know exactly this is not going to be good. This is like going to be the perfect storm. And I tweeted out that shit's going to get real. And when the people start dying, there's going to be people dying, like a lot of people are going to die. And nobody really paid attention to it because at that time I had like 300 followers, but it freaking everything came true. So that's like what surprised me. And what surprised me is like how everyone is just like losing their shit. Like nobody is coming together. Everyone's just separating in their own ways, and there's like division, and it was sort of like the opposite of 9/11, even though 9/11 was bullshit. It was like everyone got together. If you were in New York at that time, like everyone was like was supporting each other and everything. But this is like the total opposite of that. Like everyone's just like fighting and just causing. It's getting worse and worse. So the whole system is just crumbling in front of everybody.
Do you guys remember the in the beginning when I know they were doing it around here, like at 7 p.m. at night, they get outside and they clang the pots and pans for the healthcare workers, and then
And now they're like, fire the unvaccinated healthcare workers, fire the unvaccinated healthcare workers.
Yeah, you went from one extreme to the other.
Right, they're just virtue signaling.
Yep. Yeah, beginning of the pandemic, Trump was president, and now Biden's president, so you had to listen to him. So fire all the workers. How dare they not get vaccinated? That's not what it is.
It's going to be such
it's all about losing control. I mean, they've lost control. No matter what side you're on, they're losing control. They don't know how to deal with it because the only thing that they care about is capital. That's all they want. They want capital to keep flowing, investors to be happy, and they don't give a crap.
Yeah. Yeah, it was. I mean, there's just so many. So many cults popped up too. when this stuff happened, because so people were so scared out of their minds that they had to find others that were scared too, and then they all clumped together and they listened to their Jim Jones telling them that you know, well, you got to do this, you got to do this, you know, if you don't get the you know, then you're unclean and you will be the scourge of society. And so they're like, no, I don't want to be a scourge, don't want to be a scourge. And
I personally think that if they didn't try to shame people into getting vaccinated and they didn't attack everyone, if they just said, all right, if you want to get vaccinated, just get vaccinated. If you don't, you don't. Like if they would have just left it alone, I guarantee like a lot more people would have been vaccinated. A lot more people would have been like, okay,
that's definitely
I'll
true.
go do it. You know, because people are defiant. Now they're definitely not going to want to do it.
You know, it's like basically fuck you. I'm not doing it. You know, that's most people are stubborn. You know.
Yeah, it's sort of like they do what the cops do. They try to scare you into compliance. Like they get the commercials out. You better wear your seatbelt. You better not drink and drive. We're gonna get you. You know, like they try to scare you into compliance, and they try to do that with everything. That's like how they get everything done now, and it's not gonna work in this time because people are so divided and everybody's fighting that nobody's gonna want to listen to them. They should just let it go. They should just say, oh, if you want to get vaccinated, if you don't, you don't. But they didn't. They didn't do that.
They're too scared. It just got fear, and people are using this fear to control people, you know, to try to get everybody else in line. You know, you talked about how they say if people would just been chill about it, say, you know, take it or don't. You know, it's kind of like the same thing that happened in 2016 when people were scaring people into, you gotta vote for Clinton because Trump's gonna be evil. Trump, and you know they did it in 2020 too, and they just using this fear. They just use this fear, and people were like, what's wrong with you? You want Trump for 4 more years? It's like, bitch, we had 4 years of Trump in 1 year with Biden. And he broke whatever promises he did make, he broke every one of those motherfuckers. And then said, well, you know, let me just add more fuel to the fire and just do some more shit that you do not want me to do, you know. And now we're looking at shit maybe going down, you know, in the Ukraine or or what have you. And
I got I have like a list of all the Biden lies. If you want, I can read them off real quick to you.
Go for it.
All right. So number 1, he lied about graduating as one of the top of his class in college. I know you'll seen that video.
Right.
He plagiarized another politician's speech, a British politician, Neil Ghani.
That's right.
He lied about the public. Exactly. He lied about the public option. He promised to cancel student debt for loans under 10K. Didn't do that. Kids still in cages. Claimed he was arrested for seeing Mandela.
Right? That's a ridiculous lie.
That's like a brilliant one, right? Lied about 2K checks. Was pro segregation in schools. He didn't, you know, I don't want the kids living in a racial jungle. The whole shit like that. Gropes kids on camera. That's not a lie, but he does do that shit. Right? This is like the stupidest shit I've ever heard a politician do. But he called someone fat and challenged them to push-up contest. Like,
yeah, I remember that.
Like, do you have to be like mentally ill to do some stupid shit like that? Called the woman a lying dog-faced pony soldier.
Sounds like Trump.
I know.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. I don't know what that means. They told me to tell you that. Sorry.
Yeah, he's the. I don't know if he's the only politician that yells at his voters, telling them that if they don't like him, they can vote for someone else. I don't know what other politician does that, but
sounds like Nina Turner.
Sounds like Nina Turner. Yeah, right. It's a great strategy.
I will disappoint you.
That's the type of strategy when you know like you're gonna win no matter what. You don't give a shit. But continuing Trump's persecution of Assange, that's another thing he's doing. Lied about his wife narrowly escaping a house fire at his home. Did that. That's one. I don't know if everyone knows about that one.
That's a new one.
Yeah. Said he drove an 18-wheeler for a lumber company, which is bullshit. He never did. Said he visited a Tree of Life synagogue after a massacre took place, and he lied about that. He lied about trying to stop deportations. Voted for the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq, killing millions of Iraqis and Afghanis. pushed the nefarious Clinton crime bill, incarcerating a lot of black and brown people. Threatened to veto Medicare for all, and that's pretty much all the shit that I got on his ass.
You're missing a big lie.
Which one?
He was in a car accident when he was much younger. I think his first wife died. Is that right?
Yeah,
Maybe-
yeah, and his
maybe
two
one of his-
kids.
Oh yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, and his kids. And he said that the truck driver was drunk,
Oh,
and he literally ruined that driver's family's life.
oh,
Like,
really?
he-
And he was never drunk.
He wasn't drunk.
Yeah, that's not true.
Wow.
Yep. He lied about that.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's
Where's
our
Brian?
president. That's our boy. He's the one
our
running the
president.
show.
Yep. He's the guy they told us to vote for in 2020.
Vote blue no matter who.
Oof. Oh.
Yeah.
That's where we're at, boys. And just finished up 1 year. 3 to go, maybe.
Yeah.
Uh,
I mean, if Charles Manson was alive today, he probably could run and win for the Democrats if Biden, yeah. If he can get it, so could he.
Manson,
I'm telling you.
President Manson.
Yeah,
Yes.
President Manson would have got it. Yeah, he would have got in.
He would put acid in the drinking water, and we'd all
Yeah,
be.
all I had to do is be like Trump's a bad guy, and he would have came in.
Yeah, when Manson's saying you're a bad guy, wow, whoa, that's like Hitler saying, "Und you know, you could do better." You could, you're like, fuck, man, I'm getting scolded by the evil dude.
Yeah.
I want to ask you, Ricky. When I had Steve on a couple weeks ago, we were talking about your predictions. I know you've got. Tell me something before the pandemic that you knew was going to happen that came true, and tell me something that you think is going to happen this year.
Oh God.
It doesn't have to be in that order. It could be whatever
Something
you
that
like.
happened pre-pandemic that I knew would happen in the near future.
Or like when the pandemic started, something in your head said, "Oh shit, I bet you so and so is going to happen," and it did.
Oh yeah, I knew there was going to be mandates of some sort. I knew there was going to be an obedience thing immediately. I immediately knew because they were fear mongering before it was even a thing. Only New York and like Seattle had cases, and they were already like fear mongering like crazy.
Yeah.
And I was going to be like, oh no, they're going to mandate stuff.
Yeah.
They're gonna start stealing rights, and I knew it, and people fell right into it. Like it was like a natural thing that happened. No, it was it was planned. Like I'm not arguing with anyone. This was a planned event of a chain of events. The contracts were signed before the pandemic started. So, oops, that's not a coincidence, guys. That would be a planned event.
I mean, it didn't have to be here before. Like they said, it came over here. I mean, it had to be here like at least months before.
I mean, there's evidence that it was definitely, people were sick with COVID in 2019, possibly 2018, but definitely 2019.
Yeah, definitely 2019.
The China thing is the ultimate distraction because it's great. It provides the narrative and the counter narrative. The narrative is like some Chinese dude ate a bat and then sneezed, and then the whole world was in a pandemic. Wow, that's a really stupid narrative, but that really people believe that for several months, and then that narrative was never going to work out. So the counter narrative was perfect. Oh, there's a lab there also in Wuhan. How perfect is this plot, right?
Yeah.
We'll just pretend that it leaked out of this lab, and that, like they're that stupid, guys. Like they're that stupid.
Yeah. That Jon Stewart clip was perfect. That Jon Stewart clip, great.
Yeah, when he was on Colbert, he was on and Stephen was like, no, stop it. Jon Stewart
coronavirus
like, it's called the Wuhan lab. I mean, it's called Wuhan lab. What do you think? And
Stephen is such a wuss.
Rivera trying to save his job. That's all.
That's all he's doing. He's a wuss.
I got to go to a show when he was still the Colbert Report. And
he was good then. Mm-hmm.
Oh, it was so good. It was really good. And to see what has happened to him. My girl said, "Hey, you want to go see a Late Show now that your boy's over there?" I said,
No.
No, but he was always a DNC insider, though, wasn't he? Like he was always in the DNC.
Well, he wasn't. I don't know. Maybe covertly, but they needed his mouthpiece to blast out all the propaganda. Once he got to network, like big network television, that was. They were all like, all hands on deck, buddy. You got to put that shit out there. Then, he's doing the fucking dance thing with the syringe ladies. Vax.
Gross.
Scene, SCENE. Come on. And people ate that shit up. You're like, oh my God, why are there so many stupid people on this planet? We have education. We got the internet. Come on. I wanted to ask you guys. I'm probably going to cap this off here in a little bit, but I wanted to end with the doozy. Yeah. New York, 9/11, inside job. Thoughts?
Definitely.
It had.
This is a little sneak preview for the rabbit hole show, Ricky. So,
well, it had to be.
I would say that it might have not been like planned out, but it was definitely it was like let it go, let it happen, so we can go in there. Let it.
Yeah, Cheney ordered NORAD to stand down.
Yeah, like let it happen, man. Let it
happen. I would say there's evidence that the military-industrial complex, the Department of Defense, the Vice President, and Israel were all involved. I would say there's strong evidence of all of that.
A lot of that stuff was suppressed. I mean, a lot of it's been scrubbed. You don't even find it anymore. Like all the evidence that was presented around that time. And then Alex Jones got his hands on it and sort of fucked it all up.
Well, and that's why I had to censor him off Twitter and stuff and YouTube.
Yeah.
But internet existed back then, so we still have all the evidence on the internet somewhere. In the corners of the internet, you can find it. There's strong evidence that it was definitely an inside job. You can't. I mean, we have the most sophisticated defense system in the world, and everyone was either told to stand down, like you said, or they were like off duty. There's a chain of command, there's a huge chain of command in the military, and almost everyone that's normally working, they were either off or they were removed from their post or something. It was crazy.
I think there was a training exercise of the Air Force outside of New York. So a bunch of them were like distracted
for that very scenario, I believe, for like planes coming into New York and how to deal with them.
It was the biggest day. Yeah, it was the biggest day of war games the country had ever seen, and there were like 2 military jets that were actually available in the entire region, and there's usually like dozens of them, and they were all wargaming, and the war games all use the same radar as real life, so they didn't know if things were real on the radar screens or war game. They're like real or war game, like. So obviously it was planned because they planned it during a time where the military was completely distracted.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So there's clearly an inside job. You have to have prior knowledge to plan that out. Yeah.
Yeah. And then there was the plan for going into 7 countries in like 8 years or something like that. What was the plan that they were talking about in the Pentagon?
It was 7 countries in 8 years or something.
Yeah.
Like
and Obama finished off the plan. Remember, it was Obama finished off the plan. It wasn't Bush.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's like presidents are the PR guys. They're not control that. They're not control.
Yeah, true. But,
I mean, it was many different things. Not only was it war in certain regions and getting making political moves and stealing resources, but it was also like clamping down on rights of American citizens. The Patriot Act is still we're still feeling that today, and it's even worse now with this pandemic.
Yeah, it's funny because the Patriot Act is here to stay now, and now the mandates are going to be here to stay. So that's how it works.
That is how it works.
That's how you knew everybody was on board with that when the Democrats had full control and they did nothing. All they did was just keep it going. So that's how everybody was on the same playbook. There was 2 things that stuck out about that was like the day of it that made me wonder like what the fuck's going on. First was the only working camera at the Pentagon. I mean, seriously. There was what was it? I don't know. There was rumor that there was like a convenience store like on the other side of the highway that had like cameras pointed over there, and that feds came over and took the
FBI
tapes.
pulled those tapes.
The FBI pulled those tapes.
Yeah.
And
you never
Sure
seen them.
Yeah, there were supposed to be like 80 something cameras on the Pentagon, and I think they got 2 cameras with the same, like almost the same angle. So it was like the frames were like this, but it was the same like the same shot, and they cut out the frames where the actual object hits the building. You see the nose of something, and the nose of something that's literally about 2 or 3 feet off the ground. Planes, you can't fly a plane.
Don't do that.
You can't do that because there are roads around the Pentagon. So you're literally flying a passenger plane through light posts. It would rip the wings off, and it would throw. And at that speed, it would throw the plane off. There's no way you would get a direct hit like that at that altitude while hitting light posts with the wings. That would rip right off because they're aluminum wings. They would just they would rip right off. So that's clearly a drone. I think it's a drone.
Yeah.
Were there drones in 2001?
Right. There was also like a British documentary of they were talking about the phone service, how people were calling from their cell phones through the hijacked planes that they could never reach. At that time, cell phones were not able to work at that
2001.
and they actually did
like
a test.
above 30,000 feet. I think it didn't work. And then we're talking 2001, where when people still had like the little Nokia bricks things, the little bricks.
Brick phones.
Right.
Yeah.
And after that documentary came out, and they showed, they actually tested it, showed you how people could not call from their cell phones on the planes. Then the official story changed after that. They changed it to they were using the plane phones. So
right.
Yeah.
But that contradicts what some of the witnesses said. There was at least 1, maybe 2 witnesses that did stories on the news saying like, "Oh, I noticed it was her cell phone."
Yeah.
I was like, "Why is she calling me? She's supposed to be flying."
Right.
So clearly she wasn't flying if she was
2001.
calling. Right. And
There's no way that's possible.
Those recordings are still online if you dig into the
if you look
internet
for 'em.
somewhere. And there's one flight attendant. He vividly remembers that.
Yeah,
And
at
the end of her clip, though, she literally mutters something under her breath, and it sounds like it's a frame.
Yeah.
Oof.
Yep, I heard that audio too.
Look
I
it
didn't
up.
hear it's a frame. I haven't heard that story.
It's very
before.
eerie.
That's
It's a
crazy.
eerie. The phone call is eerie. Like,
Yeah.
it's really like
It's a
disturbing.
frame. Oh. Woo.
If you listen to some of those phone calls, they don't sound like they're having a natural conversation, even if there's something going on. They're like, "Hi, mother, it's your son, John." Like it's like they're reading off of something. It's really weird. They're not. It's not natural conversation at all. It's very bizarre.
Right.
It could be one of those.
Part is,
Here, read this. Hi, mom and or dad. Yeah.
It's like that.
There was that, the Pentagon bullshit, and of course Building 7. Building 7, it's just like, seriously.
there's no way.
Some office furniture was on fire and the whole fucking building came down. Please. Come on. Oh, well, the foundation was weakened when the other 2 buildings No. Then why didn't the other buildings collapse too?
Yeah.
There was like other buildings around there. They didn't collapse.
Well, steel doesn't melt at that temperature, but steel bends at that temperature.
Steel gets really scared at that temperature. It starts running like, I'm gonna get the fuck out of here. That's
It was liquid thermite.
There's
Thermite,
go ahead. I think I know where you're going, Ricky.
Yeah, it was liquid thermite. Because I saw this documentary with this professor, I forget his name, from the University of Colorado, I think, and he tested it and he proved that the gas, or what's that called, jet fuel doesn't melt steel at that temperature at all. So the only liquid thermite can, and you can paint it on anything, on any building or anywhere. So that's his theory, and he got fired from his job. His life was ruined, but he's still sticking by that theory.
I saw pictures of the thermite that was like that was the shit that was steaming for like 3 or 4 weeks or months or whatever. Because that shit it's like lava. You can't put that shit out.
Yeah.
And the support beams in the basement, you saw they were sheared at 45-degree angles. They said, well, it bent, and then like, no, these look cut into the metal. It wasn't like, I've seen metal that's bent and twisted and then you break it off or whatever, and it's always just like this was like clean, like they do in controlled demolitions. They do that beforehand to weaken it so that it can all just boom fall into the footprint, you know?
Right. Like to me, like one of the things that raised my alarm was how they took the metal and they got rid of the metal right away. They sent it over to China and they got rid of it. They
melted
didn't even
it
sift through
down.
the evidence and
they
nothing. They
trucked it
just
out.
trucked it out real quick. And that was like a smoking gun for me.
There are two reasons why.
Covering up.
Yeah, there's two reasons why I don't think the thermite thing. Well, it could be the thermite thing, but I don't think so. One is that's like a popular counter narrative. That's the truth. The funny thing is, the truth movement, the 9/11 truth movement, is like a multi-million-dollar thing. It is a massive. It's a well-funded. I don't know who funds it all, but it is a multi-million-dollar movement, and there's an organization behind it. And like I said, with these big events, there's always a narrative and a counter narrative, and usually the truth is like something else that's even more weird, like a third thing. Like with COVID, it's not
Interesting.
it's not the wet market, it's not the Wuhan lab, it's a third thing. I guarantee you. To pull something like this off, you have to have that counter narrative, and that's where a lot of people fall. Right? That's the trap. And the thermite thing, I did look at that. I was like, oh, that's very plausible. However, if you look at the forensic evidence of 9/11, you see that like paper didn't burn. Go back and look at all the pictures. They couldn't find one filing cabinet except for one that was like crunched into a ball that was in a basement of like an ice cream shop at the bottom somewhere, something in the corner. They couldn't find any filing cabinets from the actual towers. Gone. Poof, smoke, see ya. But all the paper was flying everywhere. That was, and if you look at the street, look at pictures of the cars from 9/11. You'll see all these cars that kind of look toasted, like they've been burnt or something. But right next to those like toasted cars, you'll see trees that are not burning, and it's organic material. It would burn. It would go up, and if it was actually hot or on fire or toasted, like actual like heat. Not always, with that car would be
paper
gone.
wouldn't survive.
The trees would be on fire, and the paper would burn up. The paper material was intact. So how did all the metal things go bye-bye? See ya. They couldn't find a doorknob, couldn't find a filing cabinet, but you're seeing paper everywhere. And that's what makes me believe there is some technology technology that might be in our common language today, but was not back then. And it shows you like we spend a lot of money and a lot of money disappears. Remember the day before 9/11, the actual day before 9/11, the Department of Defense announced they had lost trillions with a T dollars. Trillions
I think 2 or 3.
with a T. It was like 2 point something trillion dollars they had lost. And what did that drone or missile hit at the Pentagon? It hit the accounting room. It hit the accounting room.
Yeah.
And we all just said, oh yeah, that's just normal. What? Oh, the accounting room. What do you think the Department of Defense was probably buying with all that money? Maybe something that could take towers down, like all the metal material, and people were ripping their clothes off, like 70-something floors up. They were like taking their clothes off because they felt like they were hot, probably, but it was probably something hurting them, right? They were ripping their clothes off and jumping. They were jumpers at 9/11. But all the paper materials were intact. They found money, the cash money. The coins were all mangled and stuff, and you could barely recognize the coins. But they found cash money, baby. They found envelopes. That tells me there is some trickery going on there.
No, it's smoke. When there's smoke, that's what really gets you during fires. Is smoke inhalation. And when people are jumping out of the windows, it's the smoke that's making them do it, not exactly the heat. The smoke is toxic. Everything is burning. But I have 2 stories on 9/11. Really quick though. My father had a 9:30 appointment, at the towers. I don't know if it's Tower 1 or 2.
Oh my god!
Yeah, and he missed his train and decided to go home, and he just turned around and left. And then I knew a lady friend of mine at the time. Her father was a bigwig up in one of the buildings. He was like the head of a firm up there, and he was having an affair with his secretary. And they went out to a hotel that day, and they were in a hotel room when the towers went down. And that's how he got caught. Wife divorced him.
Adultery for the win. All right.
It was a joy day. Yeah. It was like either if he would have never cheated on his wife, he would be dead. So it was like, what do you do in that situation? So it's crazy.
His wife was literally trying to kill him.
Yeah.
So,
She was like,
well,
"Get back
well,
to
my girl-
work."
Well,
Yeah,
I was gonna say my lady friend. She worked at Borders Books. In I think it was the South Tower, and she's always late to work. She's always late. She's supposed to be there at like 8:30 or something like that. She got up around 9:30. It was like, oh, and then she looked at the news and was like, well, guess I get to go back to sleep.
Yeah.
And she did. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's a champ right there. But it's just like so many stories like that. I've talked to guys downtown that were around when it happened, and I just casually asked them. I said, "What do you think happened?" And almost all of them said that they heard explosions underground before the towers fell.
Yeah,
I know that was on like some of those. I think what was it? CNN. One of those. There was people on there. Oh yeah, we heard explosions underground before it happened.
No, you could hear Building 7 went down. You could hear the explosions before it collapsed. On some of the videos.
Firefighters are saying that.
Yeah,
Covered in
firefighters
covered in the dust. They were like, we heard explosions.
Yeah.
There's clips. Yeah.
So a lot of people were saying that.
Yeah, a lot of people thought it was bombs because they hear explosion, but like not everything that goes boom is a bomb. That's the thing.
yeah.
I knew a few of the workers there, and I mean they were finding boots with feet in them and stuff. It was pretty rough, man. It was a rough time. A lot of the guys that I know are sick now that got sick from the asbestos and everything. So yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy out there, seeing like all the fire trucks going out to the ground.
Everything covered in like dust and smoke and just ash. And I was in Mississippi at the time. I was working down there, and the thing was, I was a big football fan at the time, so I was watching ESPN all morning before I was going to work at the TV station, and I got to work, and one of my coworkers was out there, just like smoking a cigarette with this like 1,000-yard stare in his eye. And I was like, I said, dude, what's wrong? He was, haven't you heard? And then he, and I went in the newsroom, and they were just like all over the monitors, just smoking tower and.
Holy shit.
Yeah, it was like I couldn't imagine what people who were here at the time went through. I mean, they were talking about, the trains were obviously fucked, and the people going across the Brooklyn Bridge trying to get back to Brooklyn, and oh my God, man, I couldn't. I mean, me and Ricky weren't here, but where were you guys? Were you guys in Jersey at the time when it happened?
Yeah.
No, I was in New York.
I was in Jersey. I was in high school.
Yeah, high school.
Yeah, and I was in class. I'll never forget it. It was a bunch of like monitors because we were doing something, and that's all we saw was this. We thought it was an accident. That's a horrible accident. Then the second one came, and like 15 minutes later, like, this isn't no accident, and everybody looked up, like, holy shit.
Yeah, and then you heard about the Pentagon and Shanksville.
Yeah. They sent us home. We didn't go to school for like 3 or 4 days, I think. I was like,
yeah.
Where were you at?
What's that?
What?
You said you were in New York. Where were you at in New York?
I was working. I was at Long Island. I was in Long Island at the time.
Oh, okay.
I think I was like in Rockford Center or something like that. But I was in Long Island, and I was working. And I have a few like volunteer firefighters that worked. I was working at an auto parts store. We had like a few volunteer firefighters that worked with us.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as we heard the radio broadcast came on, and they were listening to Howard Stern. So as soon as he started covering it, all the volunteer guys, I think it was like 2 of them, but they got together and they were like, we got to go. And they just took off. They dipped out to the city, and then I looked. It was off Sunrise Highway. I don't know if any of you know where that is, but in Long Island, it was off of Sunrise Highway, and you're just seeing like all the different fire companies, like from all over the Long Island, just going down up Sunrise Highway towards the city. They were just going in like an army of them, just going all the way out there. Everyone was just converging on the city, and they locked it down. A lot of people like I knew were in the city, a bunch of family members. They locked it down. like the first thing I did was call my father to see that if he went to the city that day, because he used to work for Goodwill, so he used to go and do like sort of job fairs for people, people with like low income, get them jobs and things like that. So he had a couple of meetings there. That's when he told me that they say, oh no, he just turned back because he missed his train. He had like a 9:30 appointment. So, but
there you go.
yeah, but yeah, it was like a crazy time because in New York, I know from Long Island to Brooklyn, people had to. I think people had to walk out of the city because they stopped all traffic from leaving and everything. I think people had to like walk out of the bridge, but it was like dead, like quiet. There was nobody outside. It was like a ghost town. You think it was bad with the lockdowns with COVID? It was just weird. Like it was just eerily quiet. And nobody was talking, so it was just an odd thing. And then like in the evening, when it sort of settled in, people realized what was going on. Everybody, I think it was like that first evening, everybody came out with candles out of the house or light candles and shit like that. So it was definitely a crazy time, but it was like during my height of my drug use at that time. So I was really, really high and I didn't remember a lot of shit. But yeah, it was like at that time it was nuts. So.
That sounds like the right time to be high too. So
yeah, I was really like at that time I was doing almost everything under the sun, and I was just it was like the height of my party days and my DJ days.
I see those gray hairs. I know you didn't get them just from age, so
Yeah.
Ricky,
we're just hanging out. You're doing drugs with your friends, and you're like, man, I can't believe this shit just happened, man. Give me that. And so,
I was stoner back then too when that shit happened. And I was like, I just did a wake and bake, and I was like, oh no, you're fucking with me.
Yeah.
Ricky, where were you? You were gonna say where you were.
Oh yeah, I was in high school in Florida actually, and I was in homeroom when the first plane hit, and we just stayed in homeroom for. I think we just stayed in homeroom that day and then left. I think kids went home early because we just sat there and watched all the coverage on TV. It was very surreal. And my homeroom teacher was also my like American history teacher. That ironic that this probably the biggest event in my lifetime in American history was happening on TV in my American history classroom.
Right.
So
I was in computer class.
Very weird.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I mean, because like you said, Angel said it like the first one. Oh, what a horrible accident. And the second one hits, you're like, wait, what the fuck? And then the Pentagon happens, and then, and the Shanksville too. That's another, you look at the plane crashing. It looked like a ditch with garbage in it. It didn't look like a plane crashed or anything.
What was the plane?
The plane crashed with no plane and no bodies and no luggage and no clothes and nothing.
Yeah,
there's no plane. It's just a hole. It was like
it looked like just like some plane flew over and dropped a bunch of garbage and shit over there. There's all kinds of crazy stories about that too. About like planes going back to like Columbus, Ohio, or something with the actual people, and these were like dummy planes. Though the one in Shanksville they shot out of the sky. And then you see the video of the planes going into the towers, and it's like underneath the plane, and it looks like some sort of like missile is under it and shit, or maybe that weapon you're talking about, Ricky. That got me thinking, man, like what kind of weapon could melt steel but not fuck with? That'd be like some sort of like just concentrated microwave or something, right?
Directed energy. DEWs, we talk about it now very commonly. Nowadays, directed energy weapons are common. Like they even show YouTube videos, the Department of Defense, where like they'll zap you with a directed energy weapon. You'll feel like you're burning, and you like jump out of the way. They have like low-level DEWs that they'll show online, but like, I mean, directed energy weapons. That's a great theory, and everyone thinks it's a quack theory, but like those weapons exist, and we don't know how powerful they can actually be.
Makes sense.
And there's a lot we don't know about directed energy weapon. We don't know. I'm sure our government and our military industrial complex, I'm sure they know all about directed energy weapons. That's why I think it's something like that. It's something that affects metal, but not paper. How is that possible? If it's something that's hot, like thermite or jet fuel burning, like the paper would be gone. See ya, bye bye. Yeah. But not in this case. If you really like, I have a book. There's a book called Where Do the Towers Go by Dr. Judy Wood. She's written off as a quack, but she's like a materials engineer, and she put together the largest book of forensic evidence from 9/11. I have the book right over here, and it's like 500 pages of evidence with lots of pictures, so you can see for yourself. You can see with your own eyes and make your own conclusions. She's not telling you, you know, what the actual answer is. She's not really a theorist. She shows you the evidence, and then she lets you make your decision. Basically, it's a cool book, and it shows you that like there are weird anomalies, and there's no explanation. And so there is some kind of trickery, and I don't know if it's directed energy weapons, but there is some kind of trickery, and it's advanced. It was very advanced back then, but they had been developing this weaponry for decades, you know.
Yeah.
And like you said about the planes going into the towers, unfortunately, Boeing, they make commercial airliners, but they're also part of the military-industrial complex.
Military contractor.
Yeah, they're a military contractor, and in the 90s they had released remote control planes.
Yeah.
So like when you look at all the things, all the pieces of the puzzle, it's like it's alarming. And if you look at the passenger list out of DC, there's I think one plane was supposed to like have flown out of DC and then turned around and came back and hit DC or something, or ended up in Shanksville. I forget which plane that was, but there was one that flew out of DC that morning. One of the planes that allegedly crashed. And if you look at the roster of passengers on that plane, like half of them were military industrial complex. They're real people. I don't know if they ended up like suiciding them, or if they like changed their face and like got a new life, or like say, hey, we'll pay you to be a dead person on this plane and disappear. But like half of them were military industrial complex, like military ties. They're contractors or something. Very weird. It's just too weird. There's too much weird crap on 9/11. Too many holes.
We can go down this rabbit hole all night.
I know, right? That's we should probably just do a whole show.
I actually got to go soon, so can you wrap this up or something?
Yeah, Angel, you could tell me
know.
what to do on my own damn show. We'll do the same thing tomorrow on your little show.
You should have just closed it on, Angel. You should have just been like, "Oh, thank you for joining Bulla."
You know, there's a thing where it says "leave studio." You know, it's not the airport. You don't have to announce your departure. It's fine. No, but before you go, tell us where people can find you, and you got a live stream you got doing tomorrow, right? Tell us all about that.
I got a live stream tomorrow at 2:30. I'm going to talk about the shitstorm I caused on Twitter today with, stuff and I also, my YouTube channel is at Handsome Cynic, Angel Rivera, search either one. I'm also Odyssey and Rumble and Twitch and all that stuff. Same thing, Handsome Cynic. So I'll be on tomorrow around 2:30, my live stream. I'll be at Twitter, Instagram, Twitter, Twitch, and Twitter, YouTube live stream, 2:30, around there.
All right,
I'm rambling.
No, you're doing fine. You're doing fine. We'll see you tomorrow, man.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. Appreciate you.
No problem. See ya.
See ya. There was one thing I did want to talk about. One last thing, and we'll probably I know I said this like 20 minutes ago, but we'll probably end this about 10:30. But do you guys know about Plum Island off of Long Island?
A little bit, yeah.
I'm a little familiar with it.
There's
Crazy.
Hang on a second. Oh, I don't know. Fuck it. It's down there. I got this book I read. It's called Lab 257, I believe, and that is some crazy shit out there. They do all kinds of like biological experimentation and stuff like that with diseases and stuff. They think that's where Lyme disease may have come from on Long Island and that part of the, like in Connecticut and Massachusetts, around that area. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure it doesn't have anything to do with what we've been going through the last couple of years, but that place is pretty wild. The book that I was reading about spanned decades of like when they opened it and how they had like all of these like strict security protocols and whatnot. But then as the years went by, like buildings would start to deteriorate, like important buildings that you needed like to make sure that shit didn't leak out, like containment areas were old and faulty, and there was like stories of people. They had a ferry from Long Island to Plum Island that would go out there and come back, and people were taking samples back to Long Island in their cars, like not in anything like, you know, secure or anything like that. And I was, oh my God, that book is crazy with that stuff. And now it's just like, I think they may still do work out there. I don't know, it's to the degree that they did back in the old days. But I was just curious if you guys had ever heard of Plum Island out there, since we were talking about the pandemic.
I have, and I would like to do more research on it. But it was the number one place for bioweapons testing on animals in the country for for decades, actually. And I'm pretty sure a lot of the people that came over from Operation Paperclip, the Nazi scientists, I think some of them ended up on Plum Island. So you had some Nazi, like, crazy wackos doing some crazy things on I want to say animals and insects, weaponizing insects too at some point. They were weaponizing insects, so just really, really horrible things. And they're like, oh, it's on an island, so it's not gonna hurt people. And yeah, you took the ferry over, and then you had to go through the whole 9 yards to make sure, you know, you don't get infected or whatever, which is just crazy. But I'm pretty sure they've I mean, I'm sure they still do stuff over there, but I think a lot of that, they tried to move that, I want to say, to Kansas State University in the middle of the country.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, like cow country, which is like also not good. It's not good anywhere, but like probably even worse in the middle of the country instead of an island, but okay. So
I've been to
yeah,
Kansas
they
City. I think we're okay. We're fine. They'll be all right.
Yeah.
It's just they have really good steak there, though. That would be a tragedy if something happened to the steak.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck about nobody. I just want some good meat to eat.
Yeah, but they won't stop with this bioweapons crap, man. They just won't stop doing it. Fort Detrick is still in operation. Everyone around Fort Detrick is getting cancer.
Yeah.
What's so messed up is, like, we hear about things that came out like not too long ago about things that happened like decades ago, and we're just like, what the fuck, you know? And I know, like, decades from now, like, you know, if we're still around, it's gonna be like, yeah, we knew that shit, but we didn't know they were doing it that crazy, you know. Like you said, Ricky, it's like there's the narrative, there's the counter narrative, and then there's the truth, and the truth is often stranger than fiction. So, that's a good place to stop. I had a great time tonight. You guys have fun? Was this
yeah, it's very good.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for having us.
Staying inside, out of the cold.
Yep.
You guys gonna play in the snow this weekend if it's any sort of accumulation? My girl wants me to go sledding with her. I said, you want me to die, don't you? You're trying to kill me, aren't you? She's like, no. If I was rich, that would make sense. But I mean, like, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah, but you don't really go far because you're long. Your legs hit the bottom real quick, so it's not a big deal, right?
We got Fort Greene Park over here, and the whole park is surrounded by like a containing wall that's probably like about 3 or 4 feet, and there's like great hills inside the park, but they all lead to the wall. And she wants to go sledding over there. I said, we're gonna hit that fucking wall, man. I said, we're not like Olympic grade sledders over here, so she's trying to kill me, so this may be the last time you see me.
Just put her in the front and it'll be
collecting that insurance money, huh?
Now she's the smart one in the group. She'll make me go in front, and I'll be like, "Oh, okay, I'll outsmart her." Oh, broken nose. I don't have health insurance. Gentlemen, let's since I guess Ricky, you're on top with me. We'll go clockwise here. Tell everybody your details, what's going on with you, where they can find you, all the good stuff.
I'm Ricky Rants. You can find me on the old Twitter. That's my handle, actually, right? There. You can follow me on Twitter. You might unfollow me right after because I might offend you, but whatever. You win some, you lose some. You can also find me on YouTube. When one of my strikes goes away next month, I will be back on streaming, talking about this pandemic madness, maybe talking about other stuff, but I do talk about the pandemic a lot. I think resisting a lot of the nonsense that's being pushed on us is important. Most people think it's just, oh, it's just, people have different opinion about safety. I think we're in a much bigger narrative that people don't understand. And I think this narrative, if we kind of just go with the flow, we're screwed. So that's my opinion. You might have a different opinion, but I'm a big resistor, and I think there need to be voices like that. So I'm maybe extra loud sometimes, and that's who I am on the old Twitter. So you can find me over there.
I'm pretty optimistic. I like to think the tide is turning. More and more people are starting to figure out there's some bullshit going on, and they're not believing what they're being told. I mean, there's still a bunch that do, but we're whittling those numbers down, fortunately. Kris, my brother from Independent News Network, tell me your tales. Where can people find you and what you got going on soon?
Yeah, I know you can find me on Twitter. It's where I'm spend most of my time. So at Legion Socialist on Twitter. You can also check out my new channel at it's Kris Legion channel. So you can just go on there. It's on YouTube. So you can check me out there. I have a few videos on Rumble if you want to go on Rumble. But yeah, I mean, I'm just I'm gonna start gearing up. I'm still gonna do a bunch more videos because I just got my channel started. But you're not gonna find a lot of pandemic stuff on my channel because I quit COVID, and I got like I was one of the people that caught it bad. I was hospitalized, and the doctor said that if you didn't like go into the hospital, you wouldn't have made it. So like my wife caught it, my kid caught it, and like it was a big thing. So I usually, I have my opinions on it, but I just don't like sort of like COVID out because everybody's talking about it. So I'll just listen to everybody else talk about it, and I'll get my information from everybody like Ricky and a lot of guys. So, I'm gonna just weigh my shit and just see how it goes. But I'm more into like anti-imperialism. I'm like deep into stopping the oligarchy and sort of trying to find a way where people can get together and unite and see like the big picture on like who's really ruining the country and the class warfare that we're having. So I'm more concentrated on that as far as I think if we can solve the ruling class, if we can get them out of power and we can sort of govern where everyone has a say and to get the things that we want, I think that will solve a lot of the problems. That will fix it will help with COVID. It will help with getting people better health care. It will help with stopping the wars. But we have to really start uniting and stop fighting and go to the core of the issue. So that's basically what I talk mostly about. I am a little bit of a realist, so I may be a little bit doom and gloom type of person, like not very fun to talk about, like we're the empire is going to die and a lot of people are going to die. I'm just like, I'm sort of like a realist. I am a little bit of a pessimist, but it's all out of like just trying to hopefully that we all get together and finally say, you know what, let's just fucking stop all the shit that's going on. So, but other than that, you can check me out. And I'm going to try and live stream also. So that's going to come out, but I just want to get a little more videos under my wing and hopefully, see what happens. So, but thank you for having me, Warren. I appreciate it, man.
Well, yeah, I appreciate both y'all coming on, and Angel too. I think we if we can communicate with folks that need to know what we know, it's not a matter of just blasting it out to them. It's sometimes you gotta put a little sugar in the cough syrup. You gotta ease it in there somehow, so where they can like. And I think with the guys like us, I think we're all pretty sincere. We're not like looking to fool anybody. We're not trying to grift anybody or anything like that. We're just trying to help people get educated. And I hopefully that sincerity turns into trust, and then when you trust somebody, you're more often than not willing to take what they're giving you at face value. You may still be, I'll always be just like, I don't know, for some things, but, but I'm an old man, so I've learned that.
I'm with you on that.
Precious.
Yeah. I'm just the average person, a truck driver. You know, everything is my opinion. You know, I try to stay factual as much as I can, but it's like I'm not. You know, I do my best, just like everybody else.
So, and you do a good job. You, Ricky, Angel, you're good guys. You know, and just love the hell out of you, fuckers. I say that because I love you. I got all your information. I got your Twitter handles down below in the description. So please give these guys a follow. Check them out. Check out their videos. Ricky, I had no idea that you got dinged on. I thought maybe you're just taking a break from doing videos. So when you say you're coming back,
I lose one of my strikes on February 4th, so maybe like next Friday or something, I'll be back.
Cool.
Whatever day I decide to come back, I come back. But yeah, I got 3. They got me with 2 2 in one day. The last time I did a stream, I really, well, I asked a lot of questions, and sometimes I don't admit to knowing all the answers. I ask really important questions that no one's allowed to ask anymore because we don't ask questions. We don't have debates. We're not allowed to. And now asking questions is now misinformation.
Yeah.
Which is incredible because you're just not allowed to ask. This is what it is. This is the science. This is what is happening around you, and you're not allowed to question anything.
Yeah.
And that's a scary, scary place to be, and I will not stop asking questions. I asked a question on Twitter today, and people are like, "What are you implying?" I'm like, "Oh, I just asked a question. I want to know the answer."
Yeah.
They get offended by you asking a question, and it wasn't it wasn't wording it in a way. It was like, well, when your mom farted last week, like it wasn't like a rude question. It was just like I had a question. I was like, who's done this kind of research? And they were literally they were like having a stroke. I'm like, are we not allowed to ask questions anymore? If you don't like the question, just don't respond.
I saw that tweet. I know what you're talking about too, and I saw the responses to it. I was like, really? You were just asked a question. And yeah, that's the thing though. It's like you can't even ask questions because then they don't
ask questions.
You will do us your turns 9. Sorry, that's the German's favorite number is 9. So Hogan.
But I'm an artist at heart, and artists like that's what I mean. People don't know what art is anymore because art has been commercialized. But art used to be you're asking questions. You create these things to ask questions about the world around you, to challenge power, to challenge authority, to ask the questions. The scientists are the ones that try to set out and figure it all out. The artists are like, what's going on? What's happening, guys? That's what the artists used to do, and that's what made artists cool back in the day. Like the Basquiat's and all that. They used to challenge what's happening in the world and ask these big questions. And artists don't do that anymore. Artists are influencers and and just pop stars. They don't ask the big questions, and they've replaced that with nothing. You're not allowed. That doesn't exist anymore. So
yeah,
I'm gonna keep going. I'm doing my thing.
Everyone has a right to be heard. And if you're a real socialist or someone on the left, doesn't matter who it is, everyone has a right to be heard. And if you feel that way, you don't feel someone has a right to be heard, then you're not a socialist, you're not a leftist.
That's how we get out of it too, is we keep asking questions and just keep being just dogs about it, just barking. Where I want to know why, I want to know why, I want to know why, and that's how we get out of it. It's just going to take us a little time. So, gentlemen, I appreciate you. I am extra Bulla, obviously. This is my show. Okay, yeah, I had to remember that for a second. Sometimes I think I'm on somebody else's show, and I'll get in the chat and talk to somebody, and I'm like, oh shit, fuck, I'm hosting this motherfucker. So I'm extra Bulla on Twitter, obviously. Also, W. Dearman for War Deer Entertainment. R.I.P. War Deer Ent that got nuked because I called Keith Olbermann a whore. Fucking Twitter.
Yeah, that's like the worst way to get nuked.
I know, right? I've said worse shit to better people, man. I was like, what the fuck, man? And anyway, so
that's what did it.
And that was a straw. I cannot eat another bite. What about a wafer thin mint?
Yeah, the dude at YouTube was looking at that thing and like, this tweet. Fuck this.
Right?
That's
Yeah,
okay.
it was like
I can't-
somebody at Twitter was like a super. Either they were a Keith Olbermann stan, or they were a balcony stan, or they were just generic old man stan. I don't know, or a combination of the three, and then like, oh, this cocksucker, boom, he's out.
Yeah, they were looking at Keith Olbermann's picture, putting on lipstick.
He's in a protected group, you know. It's like people of color, Keith Olbermann.
I know.
Don't be racist against the balcony people. Don't be a balconist. Come on, man. You can be better. But next
people
week,
with balconies in NYC.
I know, right? I want a place with a balcony though. I miss barbecuing. I miss cooking meat out on a grill. You know, now I just microwave it. It's not the same. Next week, fingers crossed, we're gonna have the whole Hee Haw gang from the Convo Couch here. Fee and Pasta and Johnny. Hopefully, we can make those dreams come true. So that should be fun, and we'll talk about their adventures in Central and South America, and talk about what they got coming up, because they're an international force, man. You know, I love what those guys are doing, and gal.
Yeah.
We need more of that in this space. So.
Yeah.
But gentlemen, let's go ahead and wrap this up. Have a great night to everybody. If you like this bullshit, like, share, subscribe, all that shit. I love you, brothers. It was great. I'm glad I got to talk to you. I know technically, Kris, you and I have spoken on streams before, but it was like with 9,000 people, and it was like, it's like,
I know.
It's
hard. It's hard.
It hurts my ears. But this was not. I like. I don't like going to clubs. I like going to pubs and small dive bars. So I like to think of this as a dive bar for us. So
yeah.
All right,
Yep.
guys. Thanks everybody in the chat. Velvet Trance. She showed up late, but better late than never, dear. I love you. And who else showed up? I think that's probably the Russian hooker bots. They showed up. Thanks for
Nice.
Thanks to Vegan Succubus for being sheriff in the chat. Appreciate you. And Laws 456. So anyway, I like to shout everybody out because I appreciate y'all. We wouldn't do this. If I did this by myself, they'd put me in the loony bin. So anyway, it's good to have an audience. Have a great night, boys. Take care. Don't forget to wear your booties. And as always, wash your ass and don't let it freeze. Maybe.
Peace.
Peace.